Today's video originates in Toronto, Canada, and as I got off the plane, everybody was handed one of these. Coronavirus disease mandatory quarantine. You must quarantine for 14 days and monitor yourself for symptoms. If you don't, heavily fined and possible jail time. I was expecting to be here 2 days. Welcome everyone, I'm Mark. This is the Average Me channel. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to ask that you click my face in the corner to subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell icon so you know when I post new videos. Now I know this is a weird looking video, it's at a weird angle. I'm in a hotel room and according to this, I'm supposed to be here for 13 more days. I didn't bring my tripod with me, and that's why things are looking a little weird as far as a camera angle. I wanted to tell you all about this trip because it is quite interesting traveling internationally during COVID-19. As we started out this morning, it wasn't much different than any other travel day. Let's take a look. It is 5 a.m. and I'm heading to the airport. I'm going to be heading to Toronto, Canada this morning. Canada has some rather strict laws for entry. I do have business in Canada tomorrow, and then the following day I have a flight back home. So we'll see what happens. I have my neck gaiter. You saw in my other video, you can use this as a mask. I also have, I think 3 other masks. I've got a paper mask, I've got a handmade cloth mask, and actually I have 2 handmade cloth masks. So I'm all ready. If anybody says that one mask is not suitable, I'm prepared to switch out to other types of masks. I have my Nexus for entry into Canada, got my passport, I've got a work permit from last time I went in that's supposed to be good for a year, so I think I'm all set. The big thing is, will Canada consider me and what I do to be essential work? If they don't, I may not be given entry into the country. The other thing is, they have a quarantine rule in place, 14 days quarantine. That's the one I'm a little unsure of. So let's keep our fingers crossed on this one. But I'm going to let you know what goes on throughout this entire trip. Good to have you along. Well, we made it through security. Kind of slow here this morning. Now the other day, if you watched my video, you saw that I did seat selection. However, they weren't letting me check in online. I think it's because it's an international flight. Not only was I not able to check in online, but I could not check in at the kiosk. I actually had to go up to a gate agent. Travel still has not picked up. Look at how sparse this terminal is. Goodness gracious. I've never seen the airport this empty. And right now it's after 6 in the morning, and this is unbelievably empty. There are 4 other people at my gate. I crossed over. I'm all by myself, as you can see, in this gate. Because I wanted to make the video and I just wanted to chat. TSA was different this morning as well. Generally, this is a smaller airport, but it's not real small. And generally airports have a separate pre-check line. And in the really small airports, what they do is they'll give you a card, a laminated card. And then when you go through, the TSA agent knows that they don't have to have you take off your shoes and computers out of the bag and that sort of thing, all the things that you get with TSA pre-check. and they were giving out that card today. I've never gotten that card in the last 10 years traveling with Milwaukee, but this morning I did, and I'm sure the reason is because travel is so light that they don't have a dedicated TSA pre-check line. So it's quite interesting. Not many people are here at all. Of course, when I left Milwaukee, I was not traveling internationally. When I left Milwaukee, I was just traveling from Milwaukee to Detroit. Once I got into Detroit, I transferred to the international flight. And that's where things got a little weird. There at the gate, they had people that were in full masks, and they had the shields in front of their faces. They were taking temperature of people that were going to be going into Canada. And then they were quizzing you. You'd have to go up and you'd have to get quizzed on why you're entering the country and do you have any symptoms. And they looked at my passport, and I had a work permit that is still valid. It was issued last year sometime, September, October, November, I don't recall. And it was good for a year. Now, Canada's kind of weird in that way. Now, maybe the U.S. is weird in this way too. I don't know. I never have to get work permits in my own country. But sometimes when I go to Canada, I don't need any work permit. Sometimes they give me a work. They don't give me. You pay big old bucks for it. They issue a work permit for a period of time you're going to be there, the 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. Last time they issued a work permit for an entire year. They asked me if I thought I'd be coming back. I said I was, so they issued it to me for an entire year. Now, this is relevant to the story because the two ladies that were working at the Delta counter at the gate were looking, and one said, oh, he's okay. He's got a visa. It was not a visa. It was a work permit, and there is a difference. But I wasn't going to argue with her. If that's what got me on the plane, others think it's a visa, right? They know what they're looking for. I don't. All I know is when she said it was a visa, it wasn't a visa, it was a work permit, but whatever. I got on the plane. And an eventful flight. I was upgraded to first class. I thought that was really nice. However, during times of coronavirus, it was kind of weird. First class had 14 seats. 5 people were in them because they were only doing alternating seats, and we were not directly behind one another. And they're not really having service. What they do is come around and they give you the food in a little bag along with a bottle of water. Now, as we're getting toward the end of the flight, it's a real short flight from Toronto to, or from Detroit to Toronto. It's like 40 minutes, something like that. She did come by and ask if I wanted beer. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning. No, I didn't want beer. Not only that, but I knew once I got into Canada, I was going to be doing the verbal tap dance of my life because I didn't want to be here for 14 days. So what happened? Well, I got into through customs and immigration. Well, I didn't get through it. I got up to it, and I have Nexus. Nexus is sort of something that moves you through the customs process more quickly. They do an iris scan. Now they switched over to facial recognition. You have your little Nexus card that you put in, and you bypass the lines because it's all done at a kiosk. However, on my way out, because of coronavirus, everybody is supposed to be quarantined for 14 days. Everybody. One exception. If you are doing essential work, if you're an essential worker and you are entering the country to do essential work or essential services. So that was when I had to hang my hat on. So I got up to immigration. I was going back and forth. When I say back and forth, I don't want that to sound like it was contentious. It wasn't. They were very pleasant. I feel I was very pleasant. I was just answering their questions. But it was a long, long time. It took me an hour and a half. They asked a lot of questions. I was sure they're either going to require me to be quarantined for 14 days, which I am not prepared for. I only brought 2 pairs of socks. Or they turn around and kick me out of the country, which I almost would prefer. I think the flight back would have been cheaper than staying in here for 14 days and having to order out for all my food. As it turned out, I don't know what changed his mind. All of a sudden he called me over and he said, "You're good to go." I said, "Do I have to quarantine?" He said, "No, because I have a flight leaving in 2 days." And so here I am. I am in Canada. However, things are kind of strange here because of the lockdown. I'm going to show you this hotel. I'm in a nice hotel. If I'd have to spend 14 days, this would be a pretty nice place. You can kind of see, even just by my background, we got the brown and tan area over here. This is the bedroom. We got the more gray and white area over here. That's sort of the living room. I do have a really nice suite. So it wouldn't be a bad way to spend 14 days. But I'm glad I don't have to. So because of the lockdown right now, they're pretty tight and pretty stringent. So there's no indoor dining whatsoever. So the hotel restaurant is off the table. And the only restaurant service they can have is outdoor patio seating. So everybody in the area is trying to find a way to make a makeshift outdoor patio. They're using their parking lots, they're using the sidewalks, they're using everything that is anything but a patio. As a result, the exercise room is not open, the pool is not open, and I did want to get some exercise in, so it's hot. It's really hot and humid in Toronto right now, and I just got back from about an hour walk, and I stopped and I got myself an Epic XL. That's what's keeping me hydrated. I know I should be drinking water, not an Epic XL, but that's what I grabbed. It's Coke Zero. And I thought for dinner I would get a plain chicken sandwich at McDonald's. Nothing on it, just the chicken, lettuce, tomato, no breading. I thought that would be one of the healthiest things I can get from what's open right now. Well, in Canada, or in Toronto, or maybe just at this McDonald's, I don't know. It's always funny to see the different menus. They do not have the grilled chicken option. All they have is the McChicken. Well, that isn't a real healthy option if you consider all the sodium and the breading and everything else in there. I ended up getting which probably isn't much better, a McFish. What is it called? Filet-O-Fish. It's a 400-calorie sandwich, but it has cheese on it, it has sauce on it, it has breading on it, deep fried. Anyhow, that's what I ended up having for my supper. I will do a separate video showing you the room and the area around where I'm staying. Suffice to say, I'm staying very near the airport at an airport hotel, and it was just quite an experience traveling internationally during COVID, especially with the tight lockdowns they have. I did get a lot of information as we're leaving here. They're telling us how to quarantine at home when you may have been exposed but have no symptoms, because you are required to do that. And then this one talks about ensure I have a suitable place for quarantine. Go directly to that place of quarantine and stay there for 14 days. Ensure you wear a suitable non-medical mask or face covering. If you saw my video on my neck gaiter, that's what I was wearing, and I really like it. If you haven't seen that neck gaiter video, go watch it. It's kind of an interesting little device. But what's really cool about it, the times you don't have to wear it, you can just pull it down and it's wrapped around your neck almost like a bandana. And so it's out of the way. And then when you get near people or indoors or places you have to use it, you just pull that up. It's the most practical face mask that I've seen. Now, I don't know if it meets all the requirements, but what does? I mean, the way that people are using face masks. Practice physical distancing, use private transportation, don't make unnecessary stops, avoid contact with others. Now listen to this. This one is interesting. Remain in the vehicle as much as possible. This is while in transit. Avoid staying at a hotel. That's what it says for the COVID restrictions and regulations. If you need gas, pay at the pump. If you need food, use a drive-through. If you need a rest area, put on a mask and be mindful of physical distancing. I dodged the bullet on this one, and I am going to be back in the good old U.S. in less than 48 hours. If you have any questions, this is really interesting. I merely scratched the surface here about the whole process, but hopefully that gives you a little insight into what it's like to travel internationally, at least between US and Canada right now. So please leave your comments down below, like and share the videos. If you haven't already, please click my face to subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell icon so you know when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Mark.